Good afternoon. I'm going to walk you through a couple of scenes here in Hamlet Act 2, Scene 2. Remember, some time passed between Act 1 and Act 2. Act 1, Hamlet sees the ghost. The ghost says, I was murdered by your uncle. And then Hamlet says to his friends, hey, friends, if I act kind of crazy, just let me be. Act 2 starts up. Hamlet's acting crazy. And so now we're in scene 2, and it starts off, the king and the queen had called Rosecrans and Guildenstern, Hamlet's friends, and said, hey, why don't you come see if you can cheer up Hamlet, see what's going on, see what's bugging him. So Rosecrans and Guildenstern, they show up, they talk for a few minutes. Then Voltimand comes in, he's the ambassador, and he says, look, Fortinbras, he's not going to fight you anymore, but what he would like to do is go fight Poland, so if you give your permission, he's just going to walk through your land, and then he'll go and fight with Poland. All right, so all this business finishes up, and so Lord Polonius then says, this business is well ended. And I like this passage because I think it's kind of funny. It's got this very strange comical essence, and it's mostly due to Polonius's character. He's just kind of a buffoon. My liege and madam, to expostulate what majesty should be, what duty is, what day is, why day is day, night is night, and time is time, we're nothing but to waste night, day, and time. So if I talk about it, I'm just wasting it. So let's just get to it, because brevity is the soul of wit. Famous line right there. Something that Polonius is not capable of doing. Brevity is the soul of wit. If you want to be smart, be brief. And yet he talks and talks and talks. And he continues talking. And tediousness, the limbs and outward flourishes, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad. Mad, I call it. For to define true madness, what is but to be nothing else but mad? But let that go. So let me tell you what madness is. Well, madness can't be described because it's insane. But leave it alone. Queen Gertrude says, more matter, less art. Stop talking. Get to your point. Lord Polonius then replies, Madam, I swear I'm not using any art. He is mad. It's true. It's true. It's a pity. It's a pity. It is very true. A foolish figure, but farewell it. For I will use no art. I don't use art in my words. I'm just going to explain to you. Mad. Let us grant him now. Then, and now remains that we find out the cause of this effect, or rather say the cause of this defect, for this effect defective comes by cause. Thus it remains, and the remainder thus. Prebend. I have a daughter, while she is mine, who in her duty and obedience, mark, hath given me this. Now gather and surmise. And so he pulls out a letter that Ophelia has given to Polonius. And Polonius reads the letter. To the celestial, my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia. God, that is an ill phrase, a vile phrase, beautified. It's a vile phrase. Now, that's funny because he's talking to Hamlet's mother about Hamlet's insanity, and he gets on Hamlet for the use of the word beautified in a love letter to his daughter. With all the other things going on, Polonius, you're going to stop and start going off on the word beautified? That's why it's funny. All right, he continues. Thus, he reads, in her excellent white bosom, etc., etc., etc. You don't need to know the rest. Okay, so Polonius, that doesn't really say a whole lot. You pulled out a note that says, I love you, you're beautiful, etc., etc. All right, Queen Gertrude says, did this come from Hamlet to your daughter? Polonius says, good madam, hold on, I will be faithful. Let me get to my point. And he continues to read the letter. Doubt thou the stars of... Well, remember, he just said, etc., etc., as if it doesn't matter, and now he goes on to continue reading it. He's a fool. Doubt thou the stars are fire? Doubt that the sun doth move? Doubt truth be a liar, but never doubt I love? Oh, dear Ophelia, I am ill at these numbers. I have no art nor reckon my groans, but thou I love thee best. O most best, believe it, adieu. Thine evermore, most dear lady, whilst this machine is to him, Hamlet. This whole machine is to him means my body, and as long as my body is mine until I die, I will love you. All right, Polonius goes on and says, this in obedience hath my daughter shown me, because she asked, she showed it to me. And more above hath his solicitings. as they fell out by time, by means and place, all given to mine ear. So there's more of this kind of stuff. And King Claudius says, but how has she received his love? How does Ophelia feel? Well, what do you think of me? As a man of faithful and honorable. All right, Lord Polonius says, I would prove to be so. But what you might think, when I had seen this hot love on the wing as I perceived it, I must tell you that before my daughter told me, what might you, our dear, or my dear majesty, your queen here, think, if I had played the desk or table book, or given my heart a winking? All right, I'm just going to skip this here. He goes on and he says, thus to a lightness, and by his declension into the madness wherein now he raves, and all we mourn for. Polonius says, your son Hamlet is insane with love for my daughter. King Claudius says, do you think that this is true? Queen Gertrude replies, maybe, it's likely. And Lord Polonius says, hath there been such a time, I wish to know that I have positively said 'tis so, when I proved otherwise? I've always been honest with you. When I say it's so, it's so. And King Claudius goes, okay, that's true. Polonius points to his head and his shoulders and says, take this from this, if it be otherwise. If I'm a liar and unfaithful, cut off my head. If circumstances lead me, I will find the truth. I find where the truth is hid, though it were hid indeed within the center. Even if it was hidden deeply, I would find it. King Claudius then says, well, how may we find the truth even further than this? And Polonius says, you know, sometimes Hamlet walks for hours together here in the lobby. Queen Gertrude says, yes, he does indeed. At such a time, I'll loose my daughter to him. Be you and I behind an arras then. So we'll let Ophelia come to him. You and I will hide behind the drapes, and when they're talking, if he doesn't love her, and he has his reason, then let me no longer be your assistant. You can fire me. I'll go to a farm and I'll just work. King Claudius says, we will try it. All this to sum up, Polonius says, your son is mad because he is madly in love, which is a foolish explanation of insanity. All right, the scene continues. Hamlet meets up with Rosecrans and Guildenstern. They go back and forth, kind of sparring. And then Rosecrans and Guildenstern say, hey, by the way, on a road over here, we met this troupe of playwrights. And they're just here to put on a show. So Hamlet asks one of the actors, he says, give me a speech. And the actor puts on this big, long speech. And Polonius says, oh, come on, this is boring. Let's speed it up. And Hamlet says, be quiet. All right. So there are now actors here. We got Rosecrans and Guildenstern. Everyone thinks Hamlet's insane. Everyone thinks Hamlet's insane because of love. Everyone leaves. Hamlet's alone. Now I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit that from her working all his visage waned, tears in his eyes, distraction in aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit? And all for nothing, for Hecuba! So the actor just recited this big, long passage, and he was being very dramatic and weeping and showing emotion. And now that Hamlet's alone, he says, even the actor who is talking about Hecuba, who's not even real, can show emotion, but I can't show anything. This actor shows emotion. And yet I'm stuck here. And he goes, yet I, a dull and muddy-mettled rascal, peak like Jonah's dreams, unpregnant of my cause. And I love that phrase, unpregnant of my cause. There's nothing filling me up for my cause, which is to kill my uncle because the ghost of my murdered fathers tells me to get revenge. And yet I have done nothing. This time has passed. I have not done anything. Now, this is important. Because Hamlet hesitates. Does he doubt the ghost? I'll leave that to you to think about. But the point is that Hamlet has not acted so far. There was a space of time. We went forward a little bit. A space of time. Hamlet hasn't done anything. He's just been acting insane this whole time. Well, if you're acting insane for a purpose, then why don't you go ahead and execute your purpose and then stop being insane? The point here is that he has not executed his purpose. So is it perhaps possible that Hamlet has just gone mad? Like truly mad? All right. Unpregnant my cause, and can say nothing. No, not for a king, upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? My father, this good king, whose life I held most dear, I have done nothing for. Am I a coward? Do people call me a villain? Hit me on the head? Tweak my nose? Pluck my beard, which would be a terrible insult in this time. They blow the beard hairs in my face. They insult me. What does this mean? Ha! Swounds, I take it. For it cannot be, but I am a pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression better. I'm a little coward without action. I don't do anything. And before this, I should have been a fattened and region kites with slaves, offals, bloody body villain, remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain. Oh, vengeance. I should have acted. I should have gotten my revenge, but why? What an ass am I? This is most brave that I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must, like a whore, unpack my heart with words and fall a-cursing, like a very drab, a scullion. My father was murdered, and I have done nothing. Instead, I just stand here and I just shout like a whore in the streets, just making noise but doing nothing. And that's one of the conflicts with this story. Hamlet is moved to action by the ghost, and yet he does not act. And a man who doesn't act isn't really doing anything, and that, by nature of not acting, is still an action. He is not killing his uncle. Therefore, he's kind of making a decision. All right, skipping on to the very last part here. He now remembers the actors, and he says, I will have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks. I'll tempt him to the quick. If he but blench, I know my course. So I'll have the actors put on a play, and in this play, I will have them do exactly what the ghost said happened, which killed my father. I will have the uncle come in and pour the oil into the ear of the sleeping king, and the king will die. And I will watch my uncle while this scene goes on. And if my uncle looks scared, I'll know that he did it. I'll know my course. I will finally know what to do. The spirit that I have seen may be the devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing... What? The devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape? Does that sound perhaps like the idea of a ghost that might take on a shape of someone you know? Yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, and he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play is the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king. I will catch my uncle because he will reveal his guilty conscience when he sees what happens. And that's how I'll know that, yes, I should go and kill him. So right now we've got Hamlet, who's just been in indecision. He's decided not to act, whether it's fear, cowardice, or something else. That's for you to decide. All right, I have talked probably for way too long, so I will... Crap. Oh, no, it's still going. There we go. Huh. Good thing I didn't say anything worse.